The first thing we're going to do is use a 4 foot or so dowel, and this is actually a closet rod, and we're doing circumduction. So we start with small circles and bigger circles according to the client's tolerance and comfort level. We go in one direction, we go in the other direction. Now we're going to focus on flexion in the scaption plane, where it's easiest for someone with a shoulder issue. Just coach the shoulder, make sure it's not doing premature upper trap activation. Keep those shoulders down, long neck, keep the eyes on the pole. And here we do P&F. I'm pressing down and then I push and assist with the opposite arm to help it get higher and higher. And so we got stretching and activation and inhibition of what's keeping it tight. Now I change to extension. So I keep the palm facing forward to do it in a little supination of the forearm first, where it's easier. Then I turn the wrist around, I grab the pole. Now the arm is a little bit more into internal rotation, and I just work it back further and further into shoulder extension. If the person's hips tend to cheat, you can do a stagger stance and get that same leg moving forward so that you can keep the hips square if that's a problem. Here I do P&F, pushing forward, then assisting it back, again pushing forward, assisting it back for strengthening and lengthening. And of course we're getting a better effect using P&F. Now we're going to do abduction. So again, we can go back and forth a little bit just to kind of warm it up, and then we progressively move into more and more abduction. And here I do P&F in the opposite direction, pushing it down into adduction, stretching it up into abduction. And you may want to do this in different angles depending on the patient-client comfort. Next, we're going to switch to the rotator cuff. So we go back and forth with trying to get that. We're focusing on the right shoulder in this video. So we're just trying to get a little bit more external rotation at the neutral position. Now we go to the 45-degree abduction position. And we slowly work it back according to the client's tolerance. Again, watching the shoulder, making sure the upper traps are not activating and holding that shoulder up in elevation. Here especially got to watch that, and we move the elbow into 90 degrees abduction to get a different angle of the rotator cuff. Working it back again into external rotation, and actually in internal rotation too, since we're going in two directions. The focus, of course, is getting more external rotation here, and we do P&F down into internal, stretch into external. Again, P&F down into internal, stretch into external. Now we go to horizontal adduction, pulling that right arm across the chest and just getting it across further and further, stretching it, mobilizing it first, stretching it, and then we add some P&F where we pull in the opposite direction, and then we assist into more adduction. Again, pulling across and then stretching across the chest. I'm going to show you a couple of other angles. You could do 3 reps down at this angle as well as up at this angle to be a little more comprehensive. Turn around and we get the pull behind the back, and we're going to work with internal rotation behind the back. So we're using the top arm to assist by lifting into more internal rotation and of course extension and adduction. And here the P&F is you pull down to the floor, then you assist up to stretch. Pull down to the floor, assist up to stretch. And finish. Now we get ready for a deduction behind the back, straight down. So we think about down to the floor and then across the back. We assist with the other arm as usual, and we go further and further across, trying to keep the shoulders level, the head level, making sure the client doesn't compensate. Here we do P&F away and then pull it into more adduction, P&F away, pulling it into more adduction. And finish.